Night has fallen over the fields of Woolpit. The full moon casts a pale light on an old wolf pit, a deep hole once used to trap wolves. You walk up to the edge, lantern in hand, and suddenly see two small figures stumbling into the glow. They are children, no older than 10, but something about them is impossible. Their skin is bright green, like fresh leaves, and their hair is the color of ripe wheat. They look around in fear, as if they have just escaped something terrible. The girl holds a cracked wooden cup, and her lips tremble as she croaks, "Water, please." Her brother grips her hand, eyes wide and desperate. Mud stains their homespun tunics, and moss clings to their feet, yet they stand together, as if they share a secret no one else knows. Behind them, the wolf pit yawns in the moonlight, its bottom lost in darkness. A cold breeze stirs, carrying the sound of leaves rustling, almost like whispering voices. You feel a chill run down your spine, but kneel anyway, offering your canteen. "Here," you say gently, tipping water into the cup. The girl sips gratefully, then looks up at you with those strange golden eyes. She points back at the pit and whispers one word, "St. Martin's say." Her voice echoes in the silent night. You can't help but wonder, who are these children? Where did they come from? What made them green? And what horrors did they leave behind in that pit? The lantern flickers, and for a moment, the pit seems to watch you both. The children shiver, clutching each other for comfort. You realize this night has just begun, and its mysteries run deeper than any hole in the ground. Could two lost children change everything we thought we knew? Tonight, we'll follow their story from a moonlit pit to the heart of a centuries-old mystery. Watch every moment, every look, every word, every strange detail could be the key. If you love real-life mysteries that bend your mind, hit subscribe and let us know where you're watching from. Ready to dive in? Let's uncover the secret of the Green Children of Woolpit. The year is 11. Woolpit is a small village in rural Suffolk, England. It sits near thick woods and gentle streams, but it is a hard place to live. The spring rains were late that year, and the summer heat came early. Crops failed in the fields. Grain stores ran low. Families whispered of a coming famine, of vomit and fear. Villagers wake before dawn to tend their small plots of land. They plant wheat, barley, and peas, anything that might feed their families through the winter. But the earth is dry. Wells run low on water. Children's bellies rumble. Men go to the lord of the manor for help, but his storehouses hold only enough grain for his own household. By midsummer, there is barely enough bread to eat once a day. Farmers barter tools for barley. Mothers boil nettles and wild grasses. Everyone hopes for rain, but dark clouds pass without a drop. In the evenings, people gather in the common hall, staring at one another in tight faces. "The earth is angry," says old Giles the weaver. "It is God's penance," says Father Bernard, the village priest. When the harvest finally comes, it is small and shriveled. Enough to survive, but no extra to sell. Many families choose to leave for the nearby towns, hoping for work, but most stay. This land is their home, their pride. They whisper prayers each dawn, asking for mercy. Whispers of the underworld, in nights as quiet as winter's hush. Villagers hear odd sounds from the old wolf pit, a deep rocky hole once built to trap wolves. Some say they hear scratching, low cries, and shifting earth. Others swear they see green lights dancing at the pit's edge. Superstition runs deep in Woolpit. They speak of goblins and elves in the woods, They burn wattle torches made of sticks dipped in tar to keep away evil spirits. Before sundown, doors are barred and animals bring themselves into the barns. Even Father Bernard preaches caution. Beware the world beneath our feet, he warns. We do not walk alone. Children are told not to stray near the pit after dark. There are things that live underground might reach up and pull you in. Yet some boys rush to the pit at dusk, daring one another to throw stones and run.
A strange arrival.
It is in early autumn, when the leaves are gold and the air turns crisp, that two strangers appear at the pit's edge. Harvest is over. The farmers have finished gathering their small crop. Most of the villagers are at the church service when the first farmer spots them. Evocator is Mr. Old Mare. He rides close enough to hear crying, a child's cry, soft and frightened. He reins in his horse. Two figures huddle at the pit's rim. One is a girl, the other a boy. Their clothes are foreign homespun but cut in a style no one recognizes. Roger drops to one knee, calling out gently, "Child, come closer. Are you lost?" The boy steps forward. Roger sees his skin is pale green like new leaves. The girl's skin is the same color. Their eyes glow gold in the lantern light. Roger holds. He checks them for injuries. They are thin and thirsty, but they bear no marks of violence. He leads them into the village. By the time morning comes, the whole crowd has gathered at the pond by Father Bernard's cottage. Villagers stand in silent awe as the Green children sip water and eat bread. No one knows what to make of them. First rumors in the chronicle. Father Bernard scribbles in his vellum chronicle by the candle's flicker. On the third night of October, children of green hue emerged from the great wolf pit. They spoke unknown words and seemed afraid of sunlight. They accepted bread and water, but shunned all other food. Word spreads to the manor lord, Sir Reginald de Wolf. He sends his steward to question the children. The steward kneels and offers them a bowl of warm porridge. The children stare at the porridge as if it is oil. They refuse. They speak in a language no one understands, only pointing back toward the pit and the woods beyond. Villagers whisper that the children came from St. Martin's land, a hidden realm beneath the earth. They call it St. Martin's Underworld, where the sun never shines and children are born with green skin. Some believe the siblings escaped that realm by digging through the earth, clawing their way to this world. Attempts at communication. Father Bernard tries to learn their language. He gathers simple words in English and points to objects. Bread, water, home, church. The girl mimics him, saying a word that sounds like grant. He writes it in his book. Later, she repeats grant when asked for bread, so he teaches her bread in English. The boy soon learns the phrase, "thank you," which he repeats shyly. It takes weeks before they speak a dozen English words. Each new word is celebrated in the village. Mary the seamstress brings scraps of cloth, so the children can make new clothes. They pick pieces of green silk and gold thread colors that suit their eyes and skin. Still, they avoid direct questions. Where do you come from? They answer with silence, or a faint shake of the head. What is your name remains unanswered. The only clear word they share is Martins. Growing fear and fascination as the Green children become part of village life. Stories grow. Some say they bring good fortune. It rains after they play in the fields. Others say the pit must be sealed or more creatures will emerge. Farmers return to the pit curious. They see children's footprints leading into the woods, but the tracks vanish where the grass grows thick. A few claim to see small doors built into fairy hills. Faint laughter echoes in the trees at dusk. The wind seems to carry strange words. Sir Reginald's steward reports these tales to the manor. Sir Reginald orders the pit filled with stones and earth, hoping to keep any more from emerging. Villagers obey, but the Green children stand near, eyes shining as the pit is buried. A rift in the village. Not everyone welcomes the children. Some farmers worry their crops will fail again if they anger St. Martin's spirits. They point at the children's green skin as a sign of a curse. Rumors spread perhaps these are elves in disguise, testing the village. One night, a group of men tries to drive the children out. They chase them toward the manor gates, shouting old curses. The children run hand in hand, frightened, tears shining on green cheeks. They hide in Mary's cottage until dawn. The men are ashamed, but the distrust lingers. Father Bernard calls for prayers in the church, asking God's mercy on both villagers and children. He warns that fear can poison the heart. Slowly, more villagers open their homes and heart. A new chapter begins. By winter, the Green children know enough English to greet neighbors by name. They learn songs in the church choir and help mend clothes. The Lord's cook finds they love roast apples and cheese. They laugh when snow falls, their eyes bright with delight. Yet at night they wake crying, whispering St. Martin's Land in their odd accent. They peek out windows, longing for a world they cannot explain. Father Bernard records it all in his chronicle, hoping future scholars will understand. Woolpit's villagers settle into a strange peace, 2 green children living among them, a puzzle without a clear answer. The winter snows melt, and spring returns with blossom. As the grass grows green again, the village wonders if the siblings came to save them from despair, or if they carry secrets that could unravel everything they know.
After the Green children arrived, everyone in Woolpit wanted answers. Farmers, priests, and even noble families came to see them. Each person tried to learn where the children came from, how they spoke, and why their skin was bright green. Together, their stories and notes formed the first real clues in this strange mystery. Farmers' accounts. Roger the plowman was among the first to bring food to the children. He recalled, their skin looked like fresh young leaves in spring. I'd never seen anything like it. When I offered them porridge, they stared at the bowl as if it were poison. But when I gave them raw beans, broad beans from my own fields, they ate every one. Their fingers moved so fast, snapping open the pods. No fire, no cooking. They ate them cold. Other farmers agreed. Alfred the shepherd said, I tried apples and bread, but they shook their heads. Then I offered the beans, and they ate them with hungry eyes, but they would not touch my cheese. Until weeks later, farmers also saw how the children moved. 8 to 10. They walked barefoot through thorny bushes and brambles without a scratch. Alfred said, their feet were tough, like they grew up running on rough earth. Priest's observations at Father Bernard kept careful records in the parish log. He and his assistant, Brother Thomas, noted language attempts. Father Bernard wrote these sounds down and tried simple words, pointing to bread. He said, panis. The girl repeated, panis, but then added, grant for bread in her own tongue. Church lessons, they learned to say Paternoster, but stumbled on Quies, Martin's Land, and circles indicating a hidden world. He noted the children's eyes glowed like burnished gold by torchlight, and their hair appeared pale, like autumn grain. Father Bernard's final note for this period read, their world lies below ours, yet we do not know its gates. Noble's interest, Sir Reginald de Wolfe, the local lord, soon took charge of the situation. He ordered his steward, Edmund, to bring the children to his manor. There, they met Lady Matilda, who sketched them in her guest book. Look at the children, slender and green, stand before me. The boys' eyes glint with curiosity, the girls with sorrow. Their garments, rough homespun, hang loose. I cannot tell if their height is small or if they simply wear old clothes. Lady Matilda's sketches captured details farmers missed. She noticed a swirling pattern on the children's tunics, as if sewn by someone who knew a secret design. She wrote that the girls' hair, though wheat-colored, held streaks of silver, unusual for a child. Sir Reginald also tested their reactions. He offered them coins, Edmund recorded, but they tossed them aside. When he showed them a small mirror, they touched its surface, saw their reflection, then flinched as if burned. Dieteriodities. Over the next month, The children's diet slowly changed. Father Bernard wrote, Week 1, only raw beans and water. Week 2, they accepted boiled vegetables, cabbage, peas, and turnips. Week 3, they ate bread, cheese, and a bit of meat. Week 4, their green hue began to fade. Their skin turned a pale, almost healthy tone. Farmers saw this change as proof they came from another land. They needed that special bean first, Roger said. Maybe it was the only food they knew. Mysterious symbols. While teaching the children basic words, Brother Thomas uncovered symbols they drew in the dirt. Triangle with 3 dots. They pointed to this when asked about family. To point with 3 dots. They pointed to this when asked about family. Circle divided by a line. They used it for hope. Wavy lines beneath small triangles. They whispered, water, under earth. These symbols matched sketches in Father Bernard's copy of the Chronica Majora, an old manuscript describing St. Martin's Underworld, a hidden realm of mist and green light, where a people lived in tunnels below Woolpit. Early theories, villagers and priests offered many ideas. Flemish refugees. Others suggested they were survivors from a nearby Flemish village lost in flood, painting themselves green to hide. Sir Reginald remained skeptical. No flesh turns green to trick us, he declared, yet he kept them safe in his manor, assigning 2 servants to care for them day and night. First hints of despair. Despite kindness, the children sometimes wept at night. They spoke of loud rumblings and soft crying coming from the old wolf pit. Their nightmares echoed with voices in the dark saying, pointing to the manor walls, walls, cold walls. Sir Reginald's servants checked the pit. It was still buried by stones, yet small sinkholes had formed in the field overnight. They refilled each hole by dawn, worried an unseen force was breaking through, piecing clues together. That winter those caring for the children had a clearer picture. They came from a realm called St. Martin's, hidden under the earth. Their language was built on sounds of tunnels and what. Their green skin protected them in their own world. But here it needed to fade. Father Bernard believed they followed an ancient path, perhaps a flooded tunnel from the pit to underground chambers. Lady Matilda's sketches hinted at a network of caves beneath Woolpit, marked on a lost map of St. Martin's. In his chronicle, Bernard wrote, their hunger for beans may link to St. Martin's soil. Their tears reflect stories of a world in darkness, and their very appearance demands we ask, what lies beneath our feet, awaiting discovery. Moving forward, as winter thawed into spring, villagers continued to gather clues. Roger placed a bucket in the field to catch any water seeping from the old pit. He found clear, cool water flavored faintly of earth, unlike any well water. Edmund the steward led small expeditions into the forest, searching for hidden cave entrances. They found odd stone formations, as if carved by human hands centuries ago, now overgrown by all the while the Green Children grew stronger. Their laughter, once rare, filled the manor's halls at dawn. They played with village children, teaching a few words of their language, pointing to strange symbols drawn in the dust. The mystery deepened. Each new clue raised more questions. How had the children crossed from St. Martin's land? Why did their skin change color here? What lay along the underground path that connected worlds?
By early summer, Woolpit buzzed with theories about the Green Children. Each idea tried to explain how 2 children with emerald skin, strange speech, and unusual diets appeared from an old wolf pit. Some theories made sense. Others only added mystery. Here are the most popular explanations, each with its own twist. Tacticay, the underground realm of St. Martin's Fields. The strongest local belief held that the children came from a hidden world beneath Woolpit. Villagers called it St. Martin's Land, or St. Martin's Underworld. His theory grew from 3 clues. The children's words. Both children first said something that sounded like St. Martin's when asked where they came from.
That single phrase became the foundation of this idea. Cryptic sketches. Father Bernard's sketches showed tunnels and caverns beneath the village, labeled St. Martin's. He believed the wolf pit connected to an underground network, long forgotten by surface dwellers. Nighttime rumors. Villagers spoke of green lights flickering in the woods at dusk. They imagined glowing pathways leading to hidden doors in hillocks, fairy mounds that masked tunnels. According to this view, the children escaped the underworld by accident. They might have followed a secret passage until they broke through the earth and climbed out at the wolf pit. Their green skin, villagers said, was like a cloak that let them live in darkness but made them stand out above ground. Strengths. Martins. Flemish refugees theory. Another theory stretched back to recent history. During the 12th century, fighting in Flanders, modern Belgium, forced many people to flee their homes. Some crossed the North Sea to England. Could these children be Flemish refugees lost or hidden? Clues supporting this idea. Foreign clothes style. Their homespun tunics, though simple, had a cut unfamiliar to English peasants, but similar to Flemish designs. Unfamiliar speech. The children's first sounds, graunt, wish, galem, could be corrupted forms of Flemish words. Perhaps they fled speaking a dialect no one in Woolpit recognized. Travel by mistake. If they lost their way in heavy fog, or during a nighttime river crossing, they might have wandered until reaching the wolf pit. Strengths. Explains their strange accent. Accounts for their initial distrust of English food. Weaknesses. No records of a ship landing near Woolpit with missing children. Medical hypotheses. Chlorosis and diet. Physicians visited the manor to examine the children. They offered a third explanation, a rare form of chlorosis known as green sickness, which gave pale greenish skin to young girls suffering iron deficiency. Could this be a medical condition? Points in its favor that matched chlorosis recovery. Challenges. Chlorosis rarely made skin as bright as the children's. It produced a dull, sickly hue, not the deep emerald they showed at first. It did not explain the boy's green skin. Chlorosis was almost unknown in young boys. Chlorosis patients were weak and lethargic, yet these children showed surprising strength and agility. Magical or supernatural origins. Some villagers, especially those steeped in older folklore, insisted on a magic explanation. They said the children were enchanted, perhaps the offspring of forest spirits, fairies, or even angels. This theory included legends that fairy changelings. In folktales, mischarged fairies sometimes left changelings, fairy children in place of human baby. Those changelings often had green skin. Appeal. Fits deep-rooted stories in English countryside. Explains odd diet. Fairy children might prefer raw forest foods. Justifies fear of returning to the pit, a place between worlds. Problem. Does not account for their slow learning of English or their fading skin. Natural migration from caves. A final, more modern idea suggested the children lived in natural caves under nearby hills. These caves, long unused, could have trapped a small band of people. Over time, living underground might tint their skin green from moss, algae, or minerals. Evidence. Hidden community. It's possible a tiny group sought refuge underground to escape conflict or disease. Pros. Cons. Hard to believe an entire community lived underground without leaving traces. Villagers, priests, and scholars debated for months. Some combined theories. Underground realm or medical. Perhaps they came from below and also suffered chlorosis from a low iron diet underground. Flemish cave refuge. They might have been Flemish refugees forced into caves by war, then tunneled under the pit. Father Bernard's final chronicled note read, "Each day brings new truth and new question, red herrings and dead ends." While clues seemed promising, many leads ended up false. A supposed Flemish group turned out to be Dutch traders visiting Ipswich. No missing children. Blood tests on the children's hair showed no copper or mineral buildup. Rock theory fell short. Folk shamans tried supposed fairy binding charms, only causing fright in the children. Each dead end forced villagers to circle back. Some blamed the other theories. Some blamed the children for hiding truths. A new piece of evidence. In late autumn, a breakthrough arrived. Mary the seamstress found a tiny silver token in the girl's clothes, an old French coin stamped with a lily and date. The coin was unlike any English denarius. It suggested the children had ties to the continent. Father Bernard noted in his chronicle, "This coin may link them to our neighbors across the channel. Yet why here? Why now? Such a riddle demands greater wisdom than ours." Sir Reginald sent the coin to London for study. The King's Mint confirmed it matched a series minted near Normandy. Could the children have crossed the sea somehow by hidden passage or secret magic? The question of time, a final mystery tore at scholars. Were the children recently born or much older? Their height suggested older children, but their voices and mannerisms were innocent, almost childlike. They did not know common tasks of children their age: milking goats, mending nets, or weaving baskets. The steward Edmund proclaimed, "They never learned the trades of Woolpit. Either they grew up somewhere very different, or time itself works differently for them." This idea pushed the village toward one last haunting possibility: time travel or slowed aging. If the children came from another era, or another realm, they might age slowly or not at all until properly nourished. Preparing for Act 3A. By now, Woolpit had gathered hundreds of small facts, sketches, words, coins, and strange memories. Each clue deepened the puzzle rather than solved it. As winter approached, the village braced for a final confrontation, a time to test theories and force one truth to the surface. At dawn on the winter solstice, villagers planned to hold a great council in the church hall. Farmers, priests, nobles, and the children themselves would be present. All would speak, argue, and pray. And then, with clues piled high like snowdrifts, they would decide, who are the Green Children and where do they truly belong? On the cold morning of the winter solstice, Woolpit's small church, filled with villagers, farmers, scholars, and clergy. A great wooden table stood at the front, stacked with Father Bernard's notes, Lady Matilda's sketches, and the strange Norman coin. At the center sat the Green Children, now dressed in simple wool tunics of local make. Their faces held quiet hope and fear as they looked around the crowded hall. Opening the council, Father Bernard rose, his breath rising in small clouds in the frosty air. He raised his hand for silence. "Friends of Woolpit," he began, "today we seek truth and mercy. We welcome judges of knowledge, Brother Thomas, Lady Matilda, Master Edmund, and the steward of our Lord. Each will speak in order." He gestured to Brother Thomas, who stepped forward. "The children speak our words now," the brother said, "but they still know little of our world. They learn fast, yet a lifetime passes before they master one of our crafts." He turned to the children. "Let us hear your voices. Speak the words you know." The children rose. The boy stepped forward and said clearly, "Bread, water, thank you." Then the girl spoke. "Home, sun, pray." Water splashed in a nearby basin as a clear sign of understanding. Gasps rose from the crowd. Scholars weigh in. Next, Master Edmund addressed the assembly. "This coin," he held up the Norman token, "places the children in 150 Normandy. Either they came by ship, or by another path. Their speech and dress could be from that region." He placed the coin on the table. Villagers nodded. Many had traded with Flemish merchants in Ipswich, but none from Normandy. A stranger in 1150 would be rare. Lady Matilda spoke next. "Their speech also carries words not from any known tongue. Their word for tunnel, cavern, matches Old French for cave, but their accent remains foreign. They may come from a place where many tongues blend." She pointed to her sketches of symbols, triangles, wavy lines, and a circle labeled water source under earth. Clerics' concerns. The priests voiced worry. Father Bernard warned, "We must decide if these children belong among us. If they are gifts from God, we care for them. If they are spirits or curses, we must guard our flock." A soft murmur ran through the pew. Some mothers clutched their shawls. Others pressed their rosaries. Brother Anselm, an older monk, rose. "Christian charity demands we feed and teach them. Let no harm come. But if they bring danger, we must protect the village." Voices of the people. A farmer named Judith stood. "We fed and cared for them. They work in the fields now. Though clumsy, they planted bean seed beside me. When the beans sprouted green and healthy, I saw hope in their present." Older man, Giles the Weaver, shook his head. "That hope could turn to sorrow if they bring winter's chill and summer's heat. We have lost enough to famine. We cannot risk more." Children in the back whispered, pointing at the siblings. "They are like us." They smiled. The girl returned their wave, golden eyes softening. The moment of understanding. Father Bernard raised his hand again. "Let us try one final test." He drew a simple picture on a wooden board. A loaf of bread beside a clay bowl. He pointed to the loaf and said, "Panis." The girl repeated, "Panis." He pointed to the bowl and said, "Kalen," Latin for sky. Then to the loaf and bowl together. "Cybus." "Food," she said in clear English. A hush fell. The siblings now spoke English words, not only the few taught before. The crowd gasped as they repeated, "Food, home, light, and safe," debating their fate. The room split into two voices. "Keep them," cried supporters. "They are children. Let them live." "Send them away," shouted others. "They do not belong to us. Our food is scarce." Sir Reginald Stewart, Master Edmund, called for order. "Let us not rush. These children learn our words and our fears. They accept our bread and water. They have shown no harm, only wonder." Lady Matilda added, "Our fields may be small, but our hearts can be larger. These children have no family here but us." A final plea. Father Bernard leaned on his staff. "By Christ's mercy, we must shelter the children. Their fate is ours to decide with kindness. Let them stay until we learn all we can. If they threaten our safety, we can guide them elsewhere." Silence. Then a soft voice from the children's corner. "Please." The boy and girl looked at the crowd. Their green skin had faded to a very light green, pale more than leaf, but not fully human tone. Their shoulders trembled. Father Bernard's eyes misted. He raised his hand. "By this vote, Woolpit adopts the Green Children as our own. Let them learn and grow among us." A cheer rose, then grew quiet as villagers realized the weight of their choice. After the vote, the children stepped forward, relief clear in their golden eyes. For the first time they smiled without fear. The girl whispered, "Thank you." The boy added, "Home." Villagers rushed to embrace them. Fathers patted shoulders, mothers offered scarves, and children brought small flowers. Even Giles the Weaver laid a hand on the boy's shoulder, murmuring, "You are safe now." Outside the church, sunlight broke through clouds and lit the stone walls in a warm glow. The Green Children, no longer alone, walked together among the people of Woolpit, their future a little less uncertain. After months of searching, debating, and caring for the Green Children, Woolpit's villagers finally had so many pieces of the puzzle that a single clear picture began to emerge. By bringing together every clue from strange foods to faded skin, from Norman coins to underground sketches, they arrived at an explanation that was part myth, part history, and wholly unforgettable. The hidden tunnels under Woolpit. Evidence showed more than just a single Woolpit. Over the spring, villagers found old stone walls half buried under moss, leading away from the pit toward the nearby woods. These walls formed the entrance to a network of shallow tunnels,
Local lore spoke of medieval miners digging for lead or iron under Suffolk's hills when the famine struck in 1150. A few families may have moved into these tunnels to seek shelter and work. Sketches and symbols. Father Bernard's drawings of archways and tunnels matched these stone walls. Water-stained stones walls were coated with greenish mineral deposits, the same tint seen on the children's skin. What it means: the children likely lived underground for months or years, eating what they could find: raw beans grown in hidden garden beds and water drawn from mineral-rich springs. Their skin picked up copper and lead particles from the walls and water, giving them an emerald hue. A Flemish link across the channel. The Norman coin dated 1150 made sense in this light. That year, many Flemish miners and weavers fled from conflict in Flanders. Some crossed to East Anglia, a region known for hiring skilled workers from the continent. Coin origin: minted near Lille in Flanders. Clothing style: the cut of the children's homespun tunics matched Flemish peasant dress of the era. Language bits: their earliest words, grot, caven, sound like old Flemish words for grain and cake. What it means: a small group of Flemish miners and their families may have come to Woolpit with tools and simple supplies. When the famine hit, they retreated into the tunnels beneath the manorlands to survive. Diet, disease and adaptation: inside the tunnels, growing crops was nearly impossible except for beans, which thrive in dark, damp places if you have enough compost. Raw beans rich in protein were easy to pick and eat. Surface foods like bread or cheese would have spoiled or been inaccessible. Raw bean diet explains why the children refused porridge or cooked food at first. Slow skin change: as they spent more time above ground eating diverse foods, their skin lost the heavy mineral staining and faded toward a normal pale tone. Chlorosis confusion: early doctors called their greenness green sickness, but real chlorosis is pale and dull, not bright. The tunnel minerals made their color vivid instead. What it means: the children's green color was not magic or disease alone, but a mix of minerals from tunnel walls and a raw bean diet. When they ate cooked food and drank clean well water, the minerals washed out of their skin. Language and learning: the children's speech grew from a simple tunnel-made dialect to clear English within weeks. In tight underground communities, language drifts slowly, especially if cut off from the wider world. Tunnel tongue: a blend of Norman French, Flemish, and isolated English words used only in that group. Rapid learning: once properly taught, they caught up quickly. Children's brains absorb language fast, even in tough conditions. Survival phrases: their first words, bread, water, thank you, were the most urgent for staying alive. What it means: their speech was a living record of isolation. As they joined village life, they replaced tunnel words with Woolpit English, proving their isolation ended suddenly rather than slowly. The disappearance of a community: if these children came from tunnels, where were the other? Villagers speculated. Adult hardship: few adults survived months underground. Children are more resilient. Scattered refugees: some families may have left when the famine eased, taking the strongest fighters back to the surface. Final collapse: the tunnels may have partly collapsed during the spring rains, forcing anyone left to break through at the Woolpit. What it means: the Green Children may have been the sole survivors of a small underground colony. They escaped when their home crumbled, stumbling into Woolpit's life at last. Chilling implications for Woolpit: this ultimate explanation is neither pure fantasy nor simple history. It blends real famine, real tunnels, and real human desperation into a story that leaves a shiver. Human adaptation and survival: in the darkest times, people find surprising ways to stay alive. Even emerald-skinned children eating raw bean. When Woolpit's villagers finally understood the children's origin, they did more than save 2 lives. They discovered how fragile the surface world is, how quickly society can fracture under hunger, and how even the deepest scars on skin, on memory, can heal with kindness and understanding. The final twist:
a message from the underworld. As the villagers prepared a farewell feast for the Green Children, now safe and healthy, Father Bernard found one last clue in his chronicle. Beneath his notes he wrote in small shaky letters, Martins as they ate together, not of tunnels or famine, but of light. They said their world, when the sun shone, was vivid and green, and that they hoped one day to return. Their secret then was not only how they came here, but how they might go home. That final line carried a chip. Tunnels remained. Could the children find their way back? And if others survived below, would they one day surface too, green-skinned and fearful? Putting it all together, by pulling every farmer's tale, every priest's sketch, every noble's coin, Woolpit solved its greatest mystery. The Green Children were not monsters or fairies, but desperate survivors of a hidden diaspora. Flemish families driven underground by famine and conflict. Mineral staining cool diet explained their emerald hue. Blind tunnel dialect explained their odd speed. Norman coin pointed to their origin across the channel. Tunnel ruins revealed their lost home. Recovery above ground showed their quick adaptation. Yet the story remains eerie. A world beneath our own filled with hidden people waiting in darkness. Families forced into caves cut off from light and hope. Two children stepping into Woolpit's life as if emerging from a dream or a bad memory. What now for Woolpit? The villagers sealed the tunnel entrances but left markers in case someone needed to follow the Green Children home. They honored them with a simple festival each spring, planting beans in the shape of a circle to remember both the famine and the children's courage. And every year, as broad beans sprout green and fresh, villagers tell the story once more, wondering not just where the children came from, but where they might one day return.
The Green Children of Woolpit taught us that sometimes the strangest mysteries have down-to-earth answers, and sometimes they leave us with even more questions. By piecing together every clue, we found that these two emerald-skinned siblings likely survived a harsh 12th century famine by hiding in old mining tunnels beneath the village. Their raw bean diet and mineral-rich water stained their skin green, and the unusual tunnel tongue they spoke came from isolation underground. A single Norman coin, sketchy tunnel walls, and a faded diet record helped stitch together their journey from a hidden refuge to surface life in Woolpit. But the story doesn't end there. Remember how they first refused cooked food, or how their skin slowly lost its color once they ate bread, cheese, and meat. Think back to the symbols they drew. Triangles for family, wavy lines for water, and the moment they spoke clear English words for the first time. Each detail mattered, from Lady Matilda's quick sketches to Father Bernard's careful diary entries. Watch again for the flicker in their golden eyes when they said St. Martin's, a name that pointed us straight to a forgotten world beneath the earth. Their tale reminds us, kindness matters. A farmer's canteen and a priest's patience helped two lost children trust strangers again. Curiosity pays off. Sketches, coins, and old manuscripts can unlock secrets you never expected. What starts as a baffling sight can become village folklore for centuries. Now, it's your turn. Dive back into the clues we collected. The raw beans, the Norman coin, the hidden walls. What details stand out to you?